Today, we're going to be looking at the new update from OpenAI, which is the Codex App. So this is designed as a powerful command center for building with agents. Some people are saying this is kind of like OpenAI's alternative to Cursor. We're going to be testing out today. You can see it was just announced a few hours ago. And you can see here that they say, with the Codex App, you can multitask effortlessly, work with multiple agents in parallel, create and use skills, set up automations, delegate repetitive work to Codex with scheduled workflows in the background. And the Codex app is available starting today on macOS, with Windows coming soon. For a limited time, Codex is available through ChatGPT free and Go subscriptions, and they're doubling rate limits for Plus, Pro, Business, Enterprise, and Edge users across the Codex app, CLI, IDE extension, and cloud. So let's take a look at this. We can download it for Mac over here, and then we're going to get started with this party. And you can see what it looks like. So we're going to download it here. And if we go back to the page, you can see an example of what it looks like. So it kind of looks like your typical IDE, a little bit like anti-gravity, actually, to be honest. But you've got this ChatGPT style conversation thread on the left-hand side. We can actually click on this through the demo, this a sort of demo that you can check out. We can actually type in there and test it out right there as well, if we want. So we're going to try this out. Let's get it installed. Here we go. And it says the best way to build with agents. So you can, for example, like take your app and say, hey, implement dark mode or build light and dark mode. And you can do like kind of software engineering on this. You can design it for multi-agent workflows. What that means is essentially we've got multiple command centers for coding. So you see how on the left-hand side, you got like voice mode shortcuts, you got persistent prompt, you got create Codex app, etc. And then you can also adapt to how your team builds, right? So you've got these skills, kind of like anti-gravity and Claude, where you can add skills directly to the documentation. And then you can say, like, okay, use the image end skill, and then you can create images inside ChatGPT Codex as well. So it kind of looks very similar. A lot of people comparing this to Cursor. I would compare it more to anti-gravity in the way that it's done. If I look at this directly, we can start in the Codex app, then we can move over to editor. So you can actually try this inside your IDE. Like, for example, we could set this up in VS Code, and we can keep going through the terminal as well, which is pretty cool. So you can use it in 3 different ways. The actual app, move to your editor, so your IDE, and then keep going in the terminal. So essentially, I think you could probably use this. Number one, you could easily use this inside VS Code or Cursor. Number two, I think you could probably install it inside something like anti-gravity as well. And bear in mind, you can try this with the free plan, right? So it is available for free, just confirming that right here. So what we got here, we got George who says, hello, good morning from Nigeria. Hello from Belgium. Good to see you here. Hello to you too, Drax. And then Drax says, where is Sonnet 5? Apparently it's coming out soon, but I'm going to come on to that later in this episode today. So we're going to open up Codex here. Here we go. So if you go in Spotlight and go to Codex, you should be able to open up. Here we go. It's popping up right here. And then we can either enter an API key or we can connect with ChatGPT OAuth, I think. So if we click on that, we should be able to authorize with ChatGPT. Here we go. And then we'll continue with Google. I'm going to log in with that account. And you can see here it says, okay, sign into Codex with ChatGPT by continuing ChatGPT, blah, blah, blah. And I will create a full guide on how to use this as well in a second, which you'll get for free at the end of this episode. So if we go now, you can say in celebration of the Codex app launch, you have 2x rate limits until April the 2nd. So you get like, what's that, March, April, 2 months of extra limits. Then we can add a project. So if we just open this up, we can create a new project here. So I'm going to create a new folder and we'll just call this like AI Profit Boardroom website. We can also see how this performs versus something like OpenClaw, which I'm quite interested to try too. So, for example, if we have a look here, this is a website that I built, deployed, designed, created, coded in one prompt, and deployed using OpenClaw and the Claude Opus API. Now, I'm interested to see whether ChatGPT Codex can actually build something better. And if it can, we'll just redeploy the website and create a new one. So that's for my AI automation community. Andrew says, is Sonnet 5 coming tomorrow? I'm not 100% sure on that, but I have heard rumors that it is, coming for that. Now, it's got a few demo examples of what you can make. So you can create like PDFs. You could summarize last week's PRs. You could build a classic Snake game. You can choose between the APIs that you use. So you've got medium, high, extra high, and then you've got GPT 5.2, right? So you've got Codex API here, and then you've got GPT 5.2 over here, right? So we can just go with the Codex 5.2, and we can create multiple threads at the same time. The good thing about that is we can deploy multiple agents on the same project in the same thread or different threads and have them working in the background together, if that makes sense, right? So I'm going to take this information like so. We're going to go over to Codex here. I'm going to paste that in. I'm going to say, okay, create, and let's just have a look at the bottom right. What we got? Codex automatically runs commands in a sandbox. We can hold to dictate, so you can use voice as well. You can also create GitHub repositories over here, and then you can see it's stored locally, right? So that's one of the big differences here. Is like when you use ChatGPT in the cloud, all your projects are just stored in the cloud, right? But if you create a project inside Codex, you can code locally, right? And then you can come back to your projects later. So I'm going to say create a beautiful, modern, sleek landing page for my AI Profit Boardroom community. Make it fun, interesting design, dopamine inducing. And I'm going to say, okay, link to this page in all the CTAs, right? And we'll just add the link to the page. And then also write it direct response style as a sales page. Now, I always get asked, like, what's the use case for this? How can you use this inside your business? How can you actually use stuff like this to automate your business? This is how, right? So you can create landing pages, you can create content, you can create websites, you can create apps, etc. Stuff that you actually use day to day. That's the difference between like creating a Tetris game and creating like an actual website for a page for a community that we promote, right? And we sell. So we're going to go back into Codex here and we'll hit enter like so. And then I think we can actually create multiple threads inside here, right? So if we click on a new chat, you can actually have Codex and multiple agents working together on the same project, which is really cool. Because if you have like one change, for example, like implementing dark mode, and then another change, for example, like adding a game to the page, well, you could do that all at the same time inside the same project, and Codex with multiple agents can work in parallel, if that makes sense, right? Could you show how OpenClaw controls browser in real time, please? Yeah, if you want to check that out, go to the AI Profit Boardroom, inside the classroom here, SAP updates, and then go to ClaudeBot AI browser agent, right? And you can get a full video tutorial on that, plus a step-by-step standard operating procedure to use ClaudeBot to control your browser. So let's come back to Codex now. And we'll start using this. And if we have a look inside the chat here, you can see it's beginning to explore the list, right? So it's running these codes locally. You can see what it's working on, see what it's doing in the background, etc. You can also toggle the terminal if you want, right? So you can open up the terminal there. To be honest, you could probably use Claude Code. If we say, I wonder if we'd probably have to install it. Oh, look. Yeah, you can use Claude Code inside Codex right there, just using the terminal as well, right? So if you want to combine the power of Claude Code inside the power of something like Codex and have multiple agents working together on the same thing, you could using this process right here. So it's running now. How do you do your long form avatar videos? So to learn that process, go to the AI Profit Boardroom, link in the comments description, or aiprofitboardroom.com. Go to the playbook section here. And then from there, what you want to do is check out the section on AI avatar videos, right? And if you want to learn how we create AI avatar videos, you can see it inside this section right here. It breaks down the whole process, plus gives you a standard operating procedure that you or your team can implement to create avatar videos. We also have a full section on how to automate screen share videos. And if you're wondering, okay, like, does this actually work, blah, 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 you can see we actually have a brand new channel, Ava Does AI, female AI avatar. And you can see on YouTube here, some of the videos like this one, some of her videos are getting more views than my videos on the same topic. It's insane, right? You see this one, 2,400 views, 2,400 views, right? Like the avatar process can work for new channels as well, which is something that we're testing out across multiple different channels. So if we come back to Codex here, let's pull this up. Here we go. We're going to get rid of the terminal. I don't really need it right now. We've created the files, as you can see right here. And it says, this was a fun one to bring to life. I love bold, high-energy sales pages like this. I built a sleek, dopamine-inducing landing page with all the CTAs to your school link and the copy set in direct response style. What I made, here you go. Here's the files. If you want, I can add subtle scroll reveal animations or plug this into your existing site framework. No tests will run. Want me to add motion or blah, 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 right? So it gives you a couple of options. I want to say just open this up right now. In fact, I wonder if we can just copy the path and then, no, we can't. All right. I wonder if, what else could we do here? All right. So let's, there we go. All right. So what you can do, if you want to open it up, you can either say to Codex, like, open this up, or if you want an even quicker way, just click on the 3 dots here. So click on where it says files created, copy path, and then you can navigate to it. And if we want to open this up automatically, I think we can just say open it up, and it should open up in Chrome for me to preview. Or can you just use IDE and tell it to set up browser Memubot? You could use it. Yeah, you could get something like Codex to actually install this for you, or Claude Code or whatever. Now we've got the page, right? Now I will say this is interesting. This is quite interesting at this point. And I will be 100% transparent here. If you have a look at OpenClaw's website that it built, this looks way nicer, way more beautiful, way more interesting than the page right here, right? So look at this page. It doesn't look that nice. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. It just doesn't look that cool. Doesn't look that interesting. It's not as beautifully designed as something like OpenClaw, which we created using Claude Opus, right? So we had the Claude Opus API plugged into OpenClaw. We've got loads of training inside the Profit Boardroom on how to do that inside the 3-hour course right here. All right. But if we have a look, Codex doesn't produce as good quality outputs as this, right? So let's have a look inside the skills section and see what we got here. We can actually add new skills. So you can see here, for example, you can actually use Codex to operate different skills that are pre-built inside here. So for example, we've got like transcription. It can operate Atlas, which is interesting. And it's got this option for developing web games. We can also deploy to Cloudflare, which is pretty cool. We've got a skill installer, a skill creator, and everything else, right? Now, what would be interesting here is like to see if we open up a new tab. So if we open up a new chat, we'll go to Anti-Gravity Kit 2.0. I wonder if we can install the skills. Oh, look at my website popping up number 1 there. If we go to the GitHub for Anti-Gravity Kit, I think it's this one. And we'll take this, and then we'll go back to Codex here and see if this can do it. We'll say, okay, can you install these agent skills to this project? See if that works. Try Mila says, hey, Julian. Ravi says, a good way to white label and sell Instagram bots to my clients. You probably just want to find like a white label supplier for something like ManyChat. That would probably be the best way to do it. So we can choose between project level or global. I'm just going to go with project level. Then we should be able to install these skills. So that's beginning to install this. You can see it's searching the web through the anti-gravity kit and then beginning to install this. So exploring the file, setting up the list, etc. And then we should be able to install the skills. If you want to install skills manually, you can go to Skills Creator over here, try that out. And then using the Skills Creator, you can say, okay, create this new skill for UI, whatever, right? So for example, we could go from there. Miss says, what we got going on here, I'm trying to dive into this Claude biz myself. So right now what we're doing is testing out ChatGPT OpenAI Codex. As you can see, we've just designed a website with it in like one single prompt. And we're also installing skills like you can see here. James says LFG, that's what we're talking about. And George says, I love your video. I'm a big fan of you. Thanks for your video. It inspired me so much. I mostly learn from you too. I'm able to teach it to my friends in Nigeria. Thanks so much. Ah, awesome. Thank you so much. And I'm glad that we're having a positive impact here. I really appreciate that. Miss says, oh, wow, thanks. Exciting. And Goy says, you can chew gum, run treadmill, and operate bots at the same time. What a time to be alive, right? What a time to be alive, mate. So we're going to hit yes on that and start installing this. This is way harder to install than using something like anti-gravity, by the way. Like if you install skills in anti-gravity, it's like install this, boom, shakalaka, we're good to go. This seems like a lot more work, to be honest with you. And I don't know whether that's because like the API is just not as good, but it's beginning to install these anyway, right? So it's installed these skills. And then we've got to restart Codex to pick up new skills. And then if we do, let's have a look here. Yeah, so if we do at web, you can see here we've got the skill.md files installed, right? So for example, skill.md, web games, web design, web app testing, etc. Right? So if we go on web design and then we do at UI, maybe let's have a look what we got. Yeah, at front end design, create a better, more beautiful, more dopamine inducing design for this page so it looks more interesting and fun. All right, and then this is all happening inside this folder, if that makes sense. Now you can work on multiple different projects at the same time. You can have multiple different chats, multiple different agents working, and I really like that. I think that that's way easier than using something like anti-gravity, where you have to like open up different windows to have different workflows running at the same time in parallel. This seems way easier, and also we've got the skills installed, so we can empower Codex to be like 10 times more powerful using the new skills from anti-gravity kit. Right? Because anti-gravity kit skills are working across all of them, right? Crucial flow research says molting. And AB says, I just joined. How are you liking Memu? Just finished a video on it. We're going to test it out today and see how powerful it actually is. See if it works as well as OpenClaw. and we'll test them side by side later today in this live stream. So it's now beginning to edit the files for index.html. And whilst we're doing that, right, let's just recap on Codex. So OpenAI just dropped Codex OS. And here's what this means, right? It's not just like another coding tool. This is where if you're non-technical, you can speak in plain English and create what you want, right? Now, you can basically go from like zero coding knowledge, I have no coding knowledge, to deploying working automation tools that help you get customers, help you generate leads, right? And this is how you can compete. You can create websites, you can create apps, you can create automations. If we go back to Codex here, they've also got this automation section. So you can actually set up scheduled tasks, right? So you could say, okay, improve the UI today, or every day just do one thing to improve the UI, or every day just do something else to improve it. And you can add your own automations here. So if we click on new automation, we can add the name, the folder, the prompt, and the schedule. So when the automation is going to run. Now that's very unique as well. So for example, with something like anti-gravity, usually that's not going to happen. But now you can schedule tasks with these agents to run daily. Same with Claude Code. I don't think you can do that either. Hello from Brazil. Good to see you here. Tagged you in the shout out post on LinkedIn. Thank you very much. Is Codex free? Yes, it's available for free. I've already covered that today. And so we're improving the UI over this side. You can see it's editing the index.html. We've already designed the new website, which is opened up in Chrome. And let's talk about the actual framework. All right. So this is how it can work inside your business. So we have to break down this framework for using Codex, right? And I call it the Codex Automation Blueprint. You can get all the notes from today for free inside the AI Success Lab. Link in the comments description. It's a free AI community that connects you with 51,000 members. And if you go to the classroom, you can check out the Codex Automation Blueprint or just search for it right here. And you can see here, basically what this can do is help you prompt engineer, generate the code, test the deployment, and then iterate and improve it, right? So it comes in 4 stages. You design what you want with a prompt. You start improving the code. Once you've tested and deployed it, you can check it out. And then if you need to make any changes, you do the iteration layer, right? Now, I've actually got a full 30-day plan on exactly how to implement all of this step by step with prompts. And you can, if you want to master OpenAI Codex OS, you can use it using this 30-day plan. But this is pretty simple and it's one of the most intuitive IDEs I've ever used, right? Or, I mean, it feels like an IDE. It's a Codex, but it feels like an IDE. What else we got here? Codex OS is only available for Mac OS. Yeah. So you can use, what's a good VPS for Mac OS? I actually don't use any VPSs, to be honest. I've set up stuff like Amazon AWS. That works pretty well. I'm not sure if you get Mac OS on that or not. I'm pretty sure you probably would. Trimila says, I can't wait to try it out. Thanks. Happy to help. So this is coding out. I'm interested to see what we get back. It's taking a little while. We can review the changes on the right-hand side here. Now, these are uncommitted, right? So it's made these changes, then we approve them, and then we can commit them and test them out, right? So we'll just wait for this to load. In the meantime, you might be saying, well, okay, you know, I need to know how to code to use stuff like this. I would honestly say that the truth about coding is you don't need to learn it to use it, right? Codex OS basically removes that barrier because you describe what you want, the system builds it, that's it. And the people winning right now aren't the ones learning to code. They're the ones building tools that generate customers whilst everyone else is watching tutorials, right? So the old way was like, you spend months learning programming languages, you get stuck on errors you don't understand, you pay for boot camps, you still can't build what you actually need, and you fall behind because you're too busy learning, right? The best way now, the new way, is like you describe what you want in plain English using OpenAI Codex OS. You get working code in minutes, you deploy it, and you start using it to get customers, right? And this builds a competitive advantage whilst others are still messing around with syntax, right? So the new empowering belief really is like knowing what to build matters infinitely more than knowing how to build it, right? So focus on solving customer problems, not memorizing programming languages. That's the goal right here. So let's come back to here right now. You can see it's like opening up for sale design guidelines from the internet and stuff like that, which is pretty interesting, using the skills that we installed. I went from Codex Anti-Gravity since I found it easier and somewhat better. I think now I might just use both. I would say this is very intuitive and easy to use. Codex, far easier than most stuff that I've ever used or tried. George says, will MacBook M1 Pro work for Codex? I'm not 100% sure, but you can test it out. What would you recommend for automated tasks? Gamma or Llama? I don't really recommend either of those, honestly. And then Trimila says, I've shared the live stream. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. So wait for that to load. What I've also done inside the AI Success Lab is include 100 prompts for Codex OS as well. So if you want to see different prompts for customer acquisition or content creation or marketing automation or customer service, etc., you can get that all inside the AI Success Lab, completely free. Link in the comments description. We go back to Codex here, see what we got. Now, what's interesting as well is like if we actually look at where it's edited, index.html, and we click on that, it will actually open up anti-gravity, right? So you can see if you actually click on the HTML files, it will link directly to anti-gravity, which is interesting. And then you could go off and edit it even more inside anti-gravity. And now you can see we've got the newly edited page, right? I actually stopped it short because it was taking so long. I think if I had much more time to mess around with it and tinker with it, we could get something even better. But it does look better than the original using the new skills, right? It doesn't look great, doesn't look as good as Claude Opus 4.5, but you can easily build like the frame for it. Hey, do you watch Jason Casper? He also streams on his treadmill. I'm glad I'm not the only one. And then George says, can you build a web scraper that scrapes the leads and sends an automated cold email with the data? Yeah, we've actually got that automation inside the AI Profit Boardroom. So if you go to the AI Profit Boardroom here, you can check out our full process on Manus Mail Agent, which can scrape the web and then get then it can get leads for you and send them for you directly. Also, inside the classroom here, inside the NA10 templates and workflow section, you can see that we actually have some email-based templates, right? So for example, we've got the cold email agent, and you can send leads to that directly. And we also have something for scraping, as you can see right here, the scraper-based templates. And what you can do with this video tutorial and step-by-step guide inside the AI Profit Boardroom is you can scrape like Google Maps and social media using Appify and NA10, scrape loads of leads, and then use our NA10 automation bot to send out the emails themselves as well. Sayon says what you're doing now. So we have tested out ChatGPT Codex OS, created a new website, installed a bunch of skills, checked out the automations, created 2 agents coding at the same time in parallel, and then deployed a website, right? And built it out, as you can see right here, right? And it was incredibly easy. It was just like a sort of one-click prompt that we plugged in. So as I said, all the free notes from today are inside the AI Success Lab, completely free. Link in the comments description. 51,000 members in there interested in AI just like you are. If you go to the classroom, then you go to February 2026. You can see that we have the OpenAI Codex section right here with all the notes, the 30-day roadmap, the full Codex automation blueprint, 100 prompts on how to use this stuff. Plus, it addresses like all the limiting beliefs that might be stopping you from doing this stuff, right? So if you need some help with your mindset and making sure that you actually use AI automation inside your business, we handle the old and the new ways right there. All right. So feel free to get it. Link in the comments description. And then if you haven't already, check out the AI Profit Boardroom. This is my AI automation community for serious AI builders and entrepreneurs who want to scale, save time, and get more customers with AI. Link in the comments description. If you go to the community here, we have 2,200 members. We have a daily accountability group where you can post your goals and what you're working on and everything else. So you can stay laser focused and avoid shiny object syndrome and information overload. Inside the community, you can post questions or share what you're working and introduce yourself so you can be part of something amazing. You can see that it's not just me winning with this stuff as well. So for example, like Henry built his first custom GPT. You've got Paul who built a NA10 automated blog creator. And you've got Arpiet who crushed the ChatGPT challenge task 1 in the 6-week course, right? So loads of people are winning and get results of this, even if you've never used AI before. Inside the calendar here, you can jump on live coaching calls. So you can get help and support on live calls with an expert and ask any questions you have, plus meet the community. You can meet people in your local area using the map. You can DM people, get in touch with people. We have members all over the world, as you can see right here, all over Europe, US, UK, etc. And then also, you can get all my best automations and playbooks, right? So for example, if you don't know what you're doing with AI, you can go from complete beginner to expert in just 5 weeks, plus learn how to build your first AI agent in under 5 minutes. Top of that, inside the playbook here, you can learn, for example, how we automate long form avatar videos, how we automate shorts, how we automate X automations, etc. If you want to get more clients, we have a full course for agencies based on what's working for me. If you want to rank #1 with AI SEO, we have a full course here. And if you want to grow a YouTube channel with AI, we've got a full roadmap here based on what's working for me. So that's all inside the AI Profit Boardroom. We also have loads of training on Memubot, on ClawBot, and OpenClaw right here, including a 3-hour course, plus a tutorial on Maltworker that shows you how to set this up securely too. George says, I mean, using Codex, can one build that web scraper? Yeah, you probably could if you gave it the APIs. Why not? Is this the Codex app? It is Sonnet 5. We're going to come on to that later. And hello here from Portugal. Can you tell me, yeah, if you want AI Profit Boardroom, you can cancel anytime. But yeah, you can join annually or monthly. It's up to you. Right? Link in the comments description or go to aiprofitboardroom.com. So today we're going to be testing out an alternative to OpenClaw, which is Memubot, right? As you can see right here. I don't know if I've pronounced it correctly. It might be Memubot. But either way, we can test it out today. I'm going to download it and test it out. If you don't feel comfortable using something like this, you don't have to, right? So my point here is like, if you just want to see me set it up and test it out, you can. You don't have to install anything. Don't install anything that you don't feel comfortable with. I'm going to test it out today and see how it performs. So I think we can just download it directly here. I'm just going to send the link. Now we've got the download link, as you can see. We can download it for Mac or Windows, so it's available on both. I know a lot of people complain that OpenClaw is really difficult to set up on Windows, so this might be a decent alternative. I'm going to open it up now, as you can see, and we'll grab that and plug it in. Once we've done that, we'll open this up. And begin to test it out. Now you can see here, we can give it full disk access if we want to. I might do that later, but I just want to test out its functionality later. You can also get access to contacts. I'm not going to allow that for now. Calendar, not going to allow. And now we can begin to use it. So we can begin to use this directly with Telegram, I believe. And we just plug in our API here. Now you can use Claude, or you could use Minimax or a custom provider for your LLM. You just plug in your API key here. And if you want to get a code to plug it into Telegram, you can do that inside your settings. So this is what Memubot looks like. And from here, we're going to get started. You can also connect it to Slack, and looks like another app called Faciu. I'm not familiar with that, but you can see the settings right here. So in the background, I'm just going to get an API key for Claude, and then I'll get an API key as well for Telegram. Sion says, is the Codex app only for Mac? What does it actually do? Check out the AI Success Lab. If you type in Codex AI Automation Blueprint, you can get the details inside there directly. Now, if we want to set up Memubot with Telegram, here's the installation prerequisites. All right, so once you've installed the app, you need to go to Telegram, type botfather, open up the official account, click start, and create a new bot. Right, so I'm just going to do that in the background. Then we need to add the API from Claude into Memubot and the settings, and also Telegram, which I'm doing. And then we just need to generate a security code as well. Then we go back to Telegram, open the chat with the new bot. We're going to click start. Now we have this working, as you can see. All right. So what we did, just to recap, so that you can understand exactly how to set this up for Memubot, you go to the bot father, you create a new bot. For example, we create this one. Then you are going to get an API key. You plug that into your settings inside Memubot. All right, so you go to settings, then you go to general. You make sure you add an API key here. You can generate an API key from Memu for memory as well. And then you can add Telegram over here, right? You can also connect Discord, Slack, etc. Now, very important here, you need to generate a security code once you've set up Telegram with the bot, and you just press start. And very important as well, when you go inside the Telegram section here, you need to switch this on in the top right. If you don't click that button, this will not start. All right. So just something to be careful of there. It wasn't that obvious to me. It didn't say like run or something like that. It's just a power button. And now you can see this is working. So we said, write me a short poem. Here's a short poem for you. Boom, shakalaka. All right. And now we have this 24/7 assistant running inside Telegram using this method. Now, what you could do from here is begin to give it API keys if you wanted to, if you're comfortable doing that. And you can see the full chat history inside Memubot directly, right? But you can operate this via Telegram. So if we go inside Telegram here, and we're like, right, okay, what can you do that I don't know about? We can find some use cases for using it. And you can see it's in thinking mode over here. And then it'll come back to us, right? So if we go back to the chat inside Telegram, it'll come back to us. And here's the sort of stuff it can do, right? So it's like, great question. Here are some capabilities you might not know about. System, it can search the web. It can build and run code projects. It can create and edit files on your Mac. It can run any shell commands. You can also see, for example, it integrates with mail, calendar, and contacts directly locally. Just be careful if you're implementing any of this stuff. Don't link anything you wouldn't want to or you're not comfortable with. You can also do photos, videos, audio files, voice messages, etc. inside here. The thing that I love about all of this is that you don't have to use terminal, right? So if you look at Clawbot, it's a really powerful app, but it breaks so much, like unbelievable. If I just switch an API, or if I just type one thing inside terminal, boom, it's broken. Whereas you can use this, link it to Telegram just like Memu, link it to Slack or Discord, have all the history inside the chat here, and have this running in the background 24/7, right? So I could just have this running directly on Telegram via Memubot, and then I can use this whenever I want, right? Whereas you can see here, for example, Clawbot, it fails a lot. So you can see here it says agent failed, blah blah blah. So far, this has been good. Now we can also monitor websites. We could check the weather every morning. We could schedule tasks, etc. So we could say, okay, using the Claude Opus API, we could say, okay, do this for me or do that for me, right? And we can switch between Minimax as well. Bear in mind, if you use Minimax, it's a lot cheaper, but it's pretty powerful. Try Mila says, does it have to be Telegram? No, it doesn't. So you can connect this to Telegram, but Discord, Slack as well. And you've got Feishu, which I've never even heard of, but you can use that as well. You can also change the language here, so you can switch between Chinese, it looks like traditional Chinese, simplified, and also English. And then you've also got like other stuff that you can save here. So you can choose your AI model. Like you can switch between Sonnet, Opus, or Haiku. You can select how many tokens, the temperature. You can go into skills here and install new skills. So if you have skills from Clawbot, you think, hey, that would be great inside, for example, Memubot, then we can import those skills directly here, and we could get an export directly from Clawbot. We can also connect to MCP servers, which is pretty nice. You can see the data that's used too. You can clear your cache too. And then it's also got this services option. I've not seen this, but you can basically create services by the AI to monitor and notify you when things are done as well. So I really like the look of it. It's clean. It's easy to use. You don't need to use terminal. It can run 24/7 in the background because it is directly installed on your laptop. And yeah, seems pretty cool. So if you want to get a full guide for setting this up, you can get it inside the AI Profit Boardroom. I've created a full setup guide right here with links and resources and everything else. So if you go to the classroom inside the AI Profit Boardroom, we'll add a new page in here. And you can see this full guide, right? So this is a complete Memubot guide. It shows you how to set up your 24/7 assistant. What is it? Well, it's a 24/7 proactive AI assistant that runs locally on your Mac or Windows. You can schedule tasks, set up automation. It's kind of like an alternative to OpenClaw, but you don't need to use terminal to set it up. And it's quite proactive. So it can, for example, you can set up like memory systems. You can use Minimax with it as well if you don't want to use too many tokens. We've got the installation guide and the setup right here. And these are the full setup instructions. The other benefit of this, the other big differentiator here, is not just that it's easy to set up by doing a one-click install, but also it's quite powerful because you can set it up with Windows easily, right? Most people struggle to set up OpenClaw on Windows, where you can use something like Memubot. Again, just be careful with this stuff. If you want like a more secure way of setting up these 24/7 assistants like Moltbot, Clawbot, OpenClaw, Memubot, etc., check out my guide to Molt Worker inside the AI Profit Boardroom. But yeah, that's exactly how to set up. So thanks so much for watching. If you haven't already, check out the AI Profit Boardroom community. This is my automation community for AI that shows you how to scale up and save time and get more customers with AI automation. We have a community with 2,200 members who are very active and always happy to help. So you can see, for example, here, Priyam joined yesterday and we all got back to him and helped him and that sort of thing. You can see that loads of people are sharing their wins and their goals with AI, which is awesome as well. And then also we have a 4 weekly coaching calls where you can jump on live Zoom calls, get help, get support whenever you want them. And also inside here, you can see that you get my best playbooks for AI automation, X, Twitter, etc., AI avatars. You can check out the 5-week masterclass that takes you from complete beginner to expert with AI automation, plus how to build your first AI agent in under 5 minutes. You can learn how to get more clients with the agency course. Plus, you learn how to do AI SEO and YouTube and grow a YouTube channel based on what's working for me, right? And if you're wondering, okay, like, does the AI SEO stuff still work? Are people still using Google? You can see our results with AI SEO right here, right? So for example, with the playbooks that we give you inside the AI Profit Boardroom, we went from like 78 clicks a day to 782 clicks a day. That's free traffic from Google using AI SEO. Pretty insane. The other thing that I would say is if you want a free SEO strategy session to get results like this, you can check out juliangoldie.com. We have a free SEO strategy session. You can book in a call here if you need a blueprint for your website for free on a one-to-one call. And also you can see that my YouTube channel is growing and the roadmap that we're using is this one right here inside the AI Profit Boardroom. So feel free to get that link in the comments description or go to aiprofitboardroom.com. Let's see what we got inside the questions here. Does it have ability for multiple agents, separate memory spaces, share memory amongst different channels? Yeah, so the way that it would share memory across different channels, right? If we go to the settings here, so you go to settings down here, and then you would go to set up the Memu memory service. This is what you want to use if you want to save the memory across Slack, Discord, etc. Right now, does it have the ability for multiple agents? Not as far as I know, but what you could do is you could create multiple different personalities as different bots. That would be one way to do it. And then you could set them up on different devices. Does that make sense? And Jesse says, how is Kimi working now? I'm seeing it looks like it struggles with tool calls and doing things. I would agree. I think that Kimi it's decent, but it's not as good as Opus, right? Opus is the best. If you want like the best tool without any friction for using tools, for calling MCPs, etc., then you would use something like Claude Opus. You see, I've got it plugged into Memubot right there. It tends to be way more powerful. So today we're going to be testing out Memubot versus OpenClaw. Now, Memubot is a similar tool to something like OpenClaw, right? They're both 24/7 personal assistants. The first thing that I would say is that it's so much easier to install Memubot, right? So Memubot, literally all you do is you link your API key, you can choose Minimax or Claude or a custom provider. And then you can also set up Telegram and you can get an API key for memory services as well if you wanted to remember stuff. And then you can run it in the background, right? So it doesn't require using something like Terminal. If you use, for example, OpenClaw, it can break a lot. I mean, look at this. We've connected it here from the gateway. It breaks a lot. It refuses to work sometimes. Doesn't matter sometimes how many times you run through the onboarding and that sort of thing. Quite often as well, what we have to do is uninstall it and then reinstall it through the terminal. So we're going to try again with setting it up right here. But it's so much more time consuming and requires so much energy and breaks so much more than something like Memubot when I've tested them side by side. In the meantime, Jesse says, can you give OpenClaw access to other AI agent models via UI? Yeah, I mean, it could operate other models via the UI if you want to. Just be careful that you're doing everything in line with the requirements and guidelines from these other AI models. Aaron says, yo, are you legitimately getting OpenClaw to do useful things for you? I've been a dev for 5 years and spent the last 8 days trying to automate ClawBot and it literally doesn't work, and follow MD. Yeah, so if you actually have a look inside the AI Profit Boardroom here, and check out the 3-hour course that we've got. Some of the cool stuff that we did with it, for example, is we published blog posts directly to WordPress. We used it as an AI SEO agency. We can connect to it via Telegram. It can create AI avatar videos for us inside the Telegram chat. It can create voice notes in a clone version of your voice. So if I'm traveling to like Japan, I can get a voice note right there. You can send emails, organize your calendar, create animations with Remotion. You can host it with Olama. You can hook it up to Notion, and you can code websites. So one of the most useful things that we've done, and we use this every day, this website, is create a new version of the AI Profit Boardroom and then deploy it with Netlify directly to the internet. And that was pretty simple and easy to do. All right. So this is how you set up OpenClaw. So for example, we can connect it with OAuth inside ChatGPT and OpenAI. However, it doesn't always work. I'm going to warn you now. So we'll use the Codex. We'll skip connecting it. Telegram seems to be like really buggy. Like it breaks a lot. But it's just so much more work than setting up something like Memubot, which we've got working with Telegram and running 24/7 inside this program right here. And you can see it's now replying. Okay, great. So we've got Memubot on the left-hand side, and we've got OpenClaw on the right-hand side, right? Now, just in the meantime, thank you very much to Hendrix, who says, Memubot, are you using this with OpenClaw? Agent deploy feature sounds great, but what have you learned? I watched the Memubot video earlier. So with Memubot, we're using this with Claude Opus. And what we're going to do is compare them side by side here. So you can see, for example, we've got Memubot on the left-hand side. We have OpenClaw on the right-hand side, right? And I'm just testing out Memubot, but so far it's pretty good. But I'm using Memubot with Minimax 2.1, and then I'm also using OpenClaw with ChatGPT Codex OS. I need your help. Do you answer DMs? I answer DMs inside the AI Profit Boardroom. We'll come on to some more questions in a second, but we're going to test these side by side. All right. So let's just try something basic. If I say inside OpenClaw, we're going to say, okay, open up my browser, or I want to say, do you have browser control inside both of these? And see if they can operate my browser for me. It says, yes, browser control is open. Let's see if it works inside Memubot. And you can see here, it gives me a much better overview. So it's like, no, I don't have browser control. I can't click buttons, etc. What I can do is I can do web search via DuckDuckGo, Safari via limited, Apple script. It can do stuff inside Safari. Okay, so I'm going to say, can you use Safari then for me with Apple script? And we'll try and get that installed. Private Greg says, been trying to get my agency going for the last year. Every week there's another distraction, need to focus. Was looking at Claude to help as an agent to automate some. I'm going to stick with it short term. All right. What I'd recommend for you, there's loads of agency owners inside the AI Profit Boardroom. And we have a daily accountability group here so that you can stay focused. So for example, like Justin, he'll post his goals for the day. And that helps him stay 100% focused. Also, we have a focus protocol inside the AI Profit Boardroom, so you can stay laser focused on one thing and make sure you get stuff done. And that way, you don't have to worry about information overload or anything like that, right? You can stay 100% focused. So we've got Safari via Apple script set up now. And we'll say, okay, open up YouTube in Safari. And we'll do the same inside here. And then we'll allow this. So Memubot will ask for access. And you can see it's opened up YouTube for us right here, right? Now, look at this. This is quite interesting because if we pull up OpenClaw, it says I can open up YouTube in the OpenClaw control browser. I can't drive Safari directly unless you've attached the Chrome tab, right? So I actually can't open up the browser. Let's try again. Just open up the browser with YouTube. See if it can do that. But I do think that Memubot is just way easier. It gives me way less problems. Now, they both worked here, which is great, but OpenClaw was a bit more of a nightmare to use, right? Whereas Memubot got it done straight away. What else we got here? Always finding your material useful. Happy to help. Hendrik says, bro, been walking all day. That's it. Mohammed says, hey, loving your content a lot. Always happy to help. OpenClaw notified Julian Goldie. We have more questions. Welcome to ask any questions. Should I drop out of CS? What is CS? Radley says, hi. Ramsey says, hey, I set up OpenClaw and using my Anthropic subscription as the API. Nice. Saved on usage rates. So you used OAuth, right? If you use OAuth with Claude, just be careful because some people got their account shut down. It's not been confirmed, but I know that Anthropic don't allow that inside their guidelines. Like they say don't do that, right? And then what else we got here? Are you running models locally yet or Cloudflare? So you can run, I think I did do a video on like running OpenClaw locally with Ollama. So inside the AI Profit Boardroom here, if you go to SP updates, you'll see my section on Ollama and how to set it up with Ollama directly, right? So you can use stuff like Gemma 3.4b, or you can use Quen directly with Ollama and then use that to operate ClaudeBot so you can run it locally. For Cloudflare, we used Maltworker. So Maltworker is pretty good. It's just a bit of a pain to get in and out of it. So I set it up, but I don't really use it that much day to day. But a lot of people are asking about security and stuff, so I tend to find that's the best option. How do you run Olama Kimi on Malt Worker? You would just set it up inside the install, right? So when you're running through the onboarding with OpenClaw inside Malt Worker, you would switch to using Kimi instead of the other APIs. I just got a Mac Studio to build an OpenClaw for my agency. Thoughts from your perspective? I'm in the AI Profit Board and just wondering the best steps to utilize these new tools. Yeah, I mean, like you don't have to get a Mac Studio to run OpenClaw. That's just one thing to be aware of, right? Because I know loads of people went out and bought Mac Minis and Mac Studios, etc. But with OpenClaw, like there's so much you can do. You know, for example, for my SEO agency, the ways that we use it is we create YouTube thumbnails. We also, for example, create YouTube thumbnails with it. We create avatar videos with OpenClaw. We publish directly to WordPress with it. We create voice notes, etc. I can even put it in a group chat with my thumbnail designers, and they can all use it to improve their designs as well. So there's many ways you can use it for an agency. I would just look at what are you currently working on, and then how can you automate it with something like OpenClaw or Memubot, right? Which is the next task that we're going to bring on. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to give it an AI Studio API key for both of them with Nano Banana documentation. Bear in mind, we've done two tests so far. So number one was testing it for the setup. Memubot is a lot easier to set this up in rather than using OpenClaw. And then also when it comes to opening up Safari, OpenClaw can do it, but Memubot can do it, OpenClaw couldn't do it, and it has to use this default browser, right? So just to be aware of that. And then also when it comes to creating images, we're going to test this out today. So I'm going to grab an API key and create a new one here. I'll just delete it after the live stream. So I'll show it now, but we'll delete it after the live stream. I'm going to get the Nano Banana API documentation as well, as you can see, and then we'll plug that directly into OpenClaw and Memubot and see which creates the best ones. All right. So we're going to grab this API key. We'll go into Memubot and OpenClaw, and we'll say, okay, using this API key, create images for me using Nano Banana / image preview. API. All right, we'll put exactly the same instructions inside Memubot as we do inside OpenClaw. The other thing that I would say is like Telegram breaks a lot with OpenClaw. Memubot, it seems to be very consistent, it seems to work. And also, you know, you've got it running 24/7 in the background on your desktop as well. So that's quite nice. So I'm going to say, okay, generate an image of a cat now. See if we can get this working. Would you recommend adding NA10 skill to OpenClaw, or do you think it's a redundancy? Yeah, I don't think it's necessary at all, honestly. I don't think you need to at all. By the way, look at this. So Memubot actually created the image way faster than OpenClaw. OpenClaw is still thinking about it, right? Whereas we've got the image directly, proactively. I didn't even ask for it from Memubot. What I am going to say though, I'm just going to grab the documentation. Hopefully you can open up the document. Jesse Martinez says, can you give it a website link with information? It just learns the content link and does it by itself, setting it up. Yeah, You can. The one thing that you want to do though is set up something like Brave Search so that it can search on the web, right? Whether you're using OpenClaw or Memubot, give it Brave Search API keys. You can get a free one with a limited number of searches. I'm trying to optimize for token usage through API and learn more about using local LLMs versus a big three. Thoughts are hiring on employee. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, we do both, right? We hire great people, and then we also use AI automation to make those people even better. Other users report it just learns new stuff like voice and does stuff autonomously. Yeah, it can. Sorry, an employee costs more than a Mac Studio. People spoke so highly. OpenClaw is productivity. I'm assuming I can run both of these on Mac Studio. Yeah, you can run Memubot and OpenClaw directly on Mac Studio. All right, so let's go back to Memubot, see what's going on here. Let's say, can you open up the image? So you see it's creating an image, but it doesn't give you it inside the chat, which is kind of annoying too. I'm going to say, can you open up the image for me? Let's see if it does it. And we've got the image of the cat right there. To be fair, that looks pretty cool. Now, I will say that in many ways, OpenClaw won here because it's using the image 3.0, right? Whereas, for example, we tried to get, the first time we tried to use Memubot, you can see it actually generated the image with Gemini 2.0 Flash instead of using Gemini 3.0 Image Preview Pro. And so I had to give it a new document and say, create an image, and now it can generate images with Preview Pro. But look how much better that looks. Way cooler, right? And it said, and it even created an awesome prompt, which is a majestic dragon flying over a medieval castle. So if we have a look at the images, this one won by a long way, right? This is much nicer to look at. So if you look at the quality of images here, which one wins? I would say this one is much nicer, much more creative and interesting. This one is quite cool, but I just think that Memubot overall is more impressive. And I think that's because basically it's using the Claude Opus API to create this. So overall, I'm going to say that Memubot is more impressive, easier to use, easier to install, more responsive. I might do more tests in the future if people want to see that. Just let me know in the comments. But overall, I'm saying that Memubot is winning overall. What else have we got in the questions here? Oh, that's pretty much it. All right. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to learn how to use both of these models, we've got a 3-hour course on how to use OpenClaw, and we also have a full guide on how to use Memubot, right? So if you want to set up Memubot, we have a full video tutorial here with a full guide as well on the setup and how to install it. Honestly, it's a lot easier than OpenClaw. I like both of them. I have done much more testing with OpenClaw overall. And also, if you're worried about security for either of them, you can use something like Cloudflare. We set up Malt Worker, that sort of thing. The other thing that I would say is like, these are experimental programs, right? So be careful with this stuff, right? Like I show it, I'm the human guinea pig. I'll show you cool stuff on YouTube. You can just watch my videos if you don't feel comfortable connecting any APIs or that sort of thing, right? I'm doing this for you to show you cool new stuff so that you don't have to worry about this stuff, right? So that's the way that I look at it. Can you have Memubot fix OpenClaw? You probably could, to be fair. If you set up Apple Script MCP inside Memubot, it would connect to your local files, and then you could get it improving the setup and the installation of OpenClaw, which would be pretty cool. So link in the comments and description to the AI Profit boardroom with all the training. You can join this community with 2,200 members, like you can see. You can also post in here, introduce yourself, meet other cool people who are doing cool new stuff, which is amazing. Inside the calendar, we run 4 weekly coaching calls a week. So you can jump on these coaching calls live, get help, get support whenever you need them. Also, inside the classroom here, you can see that we have a full 6-week AI automation guide that takes you from complete beginner to expert with AI automation in just 5 weeks. So if you want to learn how to get more customers, save time, generate more leads with AI automation, you can check out this course. Plus, we teach you how to build your first AI agent in under 5 minutes. We have trainings on Memubot, Moltbot, OpenClaw, ClaudeBot, etc., all inside here, and we're updating it daily. We're probably the only AI community in the world that's publishing this stuff daily and keeping you up to date with the latest updates. As you can see, we date everything, so it's easy to find. And then also you can get my best playbooks. So for example, if you want to learn how to automate AI avatar videos or X, etc., you can get all of our automations inside the AI Profit Boardroom here. And then additionally, you can learn how to get more clients with the agency course. If you're a freelancer or an agency, this will help you a lot. We also have AI SEO automations on how to rank #1 inside Google and other AI search engines. And we have a full YouTube 6-week roadmap that shows you how to grow a YouTube channel based on what's working for me. So feel free to get that link in the comments and description. We actually have 118 pages of testimonials from people who are winning with AI thanks to our teachings. So if you want to join the AI Profit Boardroom, you can get that or go to aiprofitboardroom.com. Thank you. So today we are going to be looking at the latest announcements around Claude 5 Sonnet. Now, a lot of people are saying this is going to drop very soon. You can see some of the interesting stats about it. So for example, if we look at this tweet from Cam, Claude 5 Sonnet drops next week. 1 million token context window, half the price of Opus 4.5 and the best in class. Now, if it does have a much bigger context window, that's going to help a lot because, for example, inside Claude, I don't know about you, but I'm constantly having to compress the conversation with the context window. So that could be huge. Now, just to be clear, these are based on rumors, but I do want to cover it because I'm getting so many questions about Claude Sonnet. So I want to show you what I've learned so far, what's being announced, what the rumors are, and what we can potentially expect. Okay, so the release timeline. So it's rumored the Claude 5 Sonnet will come out today, February the 3rd, 2026. The code name internally apparently is Fennec, right? And the source comes from a leaked Vertex AI error showing the model ID Claude Sonnet 5, like you can see. Now, the rumored specifications. So here's what we're potentially looking at. 50% cheaper than Opus 4.5, potentially half the price of Sonnet level pricing, 1 million context window. Bear in mind, it currently only has 200K context window, faster processing, and SWE bench scores of something like this, right? Now, again, these are just rumors, but I do want to check them out. So let's see what else we got here. These are some of the benchmarks that have been leaked as well. So apparently, according to this, for example, if we look at this chart, you can see that we've got Sonnet 4, we've got Sonnet 5, Opus 4.5, Sonnet 4.5. Someone could have just made this up, right? You got to be careful with this stuff, right? But I just want to see you. I just want to show you what's being leaked and that sort of thing at the minute, what people are talking about, etc. Right? So you can see here, for example, that Sonnet 5 is expected to outperform Opus 4.5 on SWE benchmarks. massively outperform Sonnet 4.5. Opus 4.1 is not even in the race. And then you've got the benchmarks from Gemini 3 Pro, 5.2 Codex, and GPT 5.2, right? So Sonnet 5 is expected to outperform all of them, basically. You can see some of the leaks as well. So this is a tweet from Ayush Sharma. And it's got the code name Fennec, right? So leaked internal code name for Claude Sonnet 5 is reportedly one full generation ahead of Gemini's code name Snow Bunny. This is a tweet from Pankaj Kumar. Imminent release, pointing to a February the 3rd, 2026 release window, right? So that's based on the Vertex AI error log, which lists Claude Sonnet 5 and points to this window in terms of release. Now, if it gets a 1 million context window, that's going to be right up there with Gemini 3 Pro as well, which will be awesome. What else we got here? I have too much problems to upgrade from Clawbot to OpenClaw. That's fair enough. I think OpenClaw breaks a lot. That's why I've shown Memubot, because so far it's not broken on me at all, which is awesome. Do you have an email to send you some details? Just join the AI Profit Boardroom and then DM me the details, or feel free to share inside the community and ask for beta testers. Jesse says, I've been using Opus 3.5. I think you mean 4.5. But with all my tools and MCPs, custom stuff, it's great on my website, but can forget stuff. Yeah, I agree. It does forget stuff a lot. Even in the same window or the same chat, it forgets stuff really quickly. There is a new tool. I covered it on my YouTube channel recently called Super Memory. This is a new skill for Claude Sonnet, and it improves the memory of Claude. So if you're struggling, you could potentially use that as a skill, but always check the skill first before you install it, right? Always check the stuff. You can run the skill MD file through Claude itself and then ask it to give you the lowdown first. Now, also the other thing that's been rumored is dev team mode, right? So you can launch like specialized agents work autonomously, and this would transform like a solo developer into having a full-time team. And you can see the historical context here as well. So Sonnet 3.5 came out in June 2024, 3.7 Feb 2025, 4 May 2025, September released 4.5 September. And then this is rumored is that Feb 2026, Sonnet 5 is coming out, and it will outperform Opus. If it outperforms Opus, it's going to be insane because it's way, way better. I mean, Opus is already the best API in the world, so it's going to be pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to checking this stuff out. So that's basically it on my lowdown. That's everything that I can find realistically about Claude Sonnet 5. A lot of people are asking me. Enzo says, is OpenClaw safe? I would say, just be really careful about installing this stuff. If you're already worried, is it safe or not, then don't install it, right? Like I installed this stuff as like tests and for fun and that sort of thing. But if you're not sure, don't install anything that you're not sure about, right? So if you're already asking, is it safe, don't install it. That would be my advice. You can get a full guide inside the AI Profit Boardroom on Malt Worker. Malt Worker is potentially a safer way of installing this because you can install OpenClaw on Cloudflare and it runs in a siloed environment. Plus, you have to approve any logins before people use it. So that might be one of the best ways to use it. And yeah, that's basically it. So feel free to get the AI Profit Boardroom community, link in the comments description. Comes with 2,200 members. You can ask any questions you have. You get 4 weekly coaching calls. So you can connect with people in your local area. So you can actually find people in your area, DM them, message them, etc. And then you can also get all of my best trainings. So if you're interested in Maltbook, OpenClaw, Malt Worker, Memubot, Minimax and Kimi K 2.5 or Olama with OpenClaw, you can get all of these trainings inside the AI Profit Boardroom, and we have a 3-hour course on how to use OpenClaw as well, with step-by-step guides like you can see, and pretty much everything you'd want to know about it. So link in the comments description to that, or feel free to go to the AIprofitboardroom.com to get access to all this. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.